You know, it's funny how sometimes a nation's absolute darkest moment can completely redefine it. How out of a massive crisis, these radical, world-changing ideas can just appear. Well, that's what we're talking about today. We're going to look at how Britain, right after World War II, launched one of the most ambitious social experiments in history.
It's a heck of a question, isn't it? For a country that had just been through 6 years of just brutal war, you would think survival would be the only thing on the agenda. But for Britain, this became more than just a hopeful thought. It became a national mission. Okay, so try to picture it. It's 1945, the bombs have finally stopped falling, but the country is just exhausted, it's scarred. And there was this incredibly powerful feeling, this shared sense that after everything everyone had sacrificed, there was no way they could go back to how things were. Not back to the poverty and the inequality of the 1930s. Something new, something better had to be built.
So where do you even start with a task that big? Well, the blueprint came from a guy named William Beveridge. And get this, he published his famous report back in 1942, while the war was still raging. What made it so brilliant was that he didn't just write a dry report about problems. No, he gave the enemy a face. He declared a new war, a war on 5 giant evils that were plaguing the country from the inside. First on the hit list was the giant of want. And this was just raw, crushing poverty. We're talking about millions of people who couldn't afford the absolute basics, like food on the table, decent clothes, or a warm place to live. It was that daily, grinding struggle just to get by. The second giant was disease. And what's so important to understand here is that getting sick back then was a total disaster, a double whammy. First, you had the illness itself, and then you had the doctor's bill, which could literally bankrupt an entire family. For most people, healthcare wasn't a right, it was a luxury they couldn't afford. Next up was the giant of ignorance. Now, this wasn't about people not being smart, not at all. It was about a total lack of opportunity. Your entire future could be decided simply by how much money your parents had, not by your own talent or potential. A good education was just out of reach for the vast majority. And then there was squalor. This was the grim reality of daily life for millions. We're talking about living in slums, overcrowded, unsanitary, and frankly, dangerous housing. And just to make a terrible situation even worse, the Blitz had bombed huge parts of Britain's cities, turning a housing crisis into an absolute catastrophe. And finally, the fifth giant, idleness. This was all about the deep, collective fear of going back to the mass unemployment that had defined the 1930s. The memory of the Great Depression was still incredibly fresh, so a key goal was to make sure that anyone who was able to work could actually find a job. So, okay, Beveridge had identified the 5 enemies. Now for the battle plan. His report laid out this incredibly detailed blueprint to fight all 5 of these giants, all at the same time, with a system of social support that was unlike anything anyone had ever seen before. Now this is the absolute key to the whole thing. The revolutionary idea at its heart was something called universalism. And this was a massive break from the past. See, these new services, pensions, unemployment benefits, healthcare, they weren't going to be charity handed out to the poor. They were a right for every single citizen, from the richest person in the country to the poorest. It totally changed the deal between the people and the government. And this one phrase, man, it just captured the sheer ambition of it all. It became the rallying cry. From the cradle to the grave. It was a promise of a safety net that would be there for you your entire life, no matter what, from the day you were born to the day you died. And out of all the incredible things that were built in this period, one stands above all the rest. It would become the most famous, the most beloved creation, the absolute crown jewel of the new welfare state, the National Health Service, the NHS. I mean, just look at this. The change was absolutely seismic. After the war in 1945, a new government was elected in a landslide with a clear mission to build this new Britain. And on July 5th, 1948, it happened. Overnight, the fear of the doctor's bill just vanished. Healthcare went from a confusing patchwork that depended on how much money you had to a single national service for everybody, free when you needed it, based only on your health, not your wealth. If you want to understand the impact this had, just look at this number.
In its very first year, the NHS gave out more than 5 million pairs of glasses. Just think about that for a second. It shows you this enormous hidden need that was out there. Millions of people who had just been going through life unable to see properly because they couldn't afford glasses. Suddenly, that barrier was gone. So, that's how the welfare state was born, a truly incredible achievement that came directly out of the ashes of war. But of course, the story doesn't end in 1948, not by a long shot. Now, more than 75 years later, that system is facing a whole new set of challenges that the post-war generation could have never imagined.
Yeah, this timeline really puts it all in perspective, right? You've got the blueprint in 42, then that massive election in 45 that gave the government the green light, then the launch of the NHS in 48. Every step was crucial, and it all leads to the system we have today, which, well, is now facing some serious 21st century pressures. So when you boil it all down, what's the lasting legacy here? Well, it's huge. These reforms completely redefine the relationship between a government and its people. They created a national agreement on the basic idea of a safety net for everyone, an idea that's mostly held firm ever since. And the NHS, it became way more than just a health service. It became a core part of British identity, and it inspired countries all over the world.
Which really leaves us with one final and really important question for today. Those 5 giants that Beveridge wanted to destroy, want, disease, ignorance, squalor, and idleness, well, they haven't disappeared. They've just evolved. Poverty looks different today. Our health crises are different. Inequality has taken on new forms. So the big question is, does that 80-year-old blueprint, designed